start recording like there. And now we shall begin. What is up, guys? This is really weird for you guys, isn't it? Me just going through a couple different sections, but whatever. We are now going to begin the analysis portion of the stream, where I'm going to be talking about the replays you guys have sent in through email. 8 replays were sent in the email. I'm going to do every single one of them because 8 replays isn't a ridiculous amount for me. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into these. All right. So let me go to my main. I will DL Falu balls. Oh, whoops. I think they said this is going to have a texture set on it. So, oh fuck. Shit. Fuck. Okay, I pressed the wrong button. So, this replay, it looks like it's a collaboration between Falu and Fudgy Balls. Both are pretty good replay makers. Apparently this is Moop's face all over the story on every single texture. So there's that. So I'm going to talk about this thing. Alright. So it's called Salmon Steak in the Unreal Cake. It looks like they use emotes to show who is doing which part, which is kind of cool. I kind of like that. That's neat. But, okay. So this is a sort of manipulation into a couple kicks. Kick, kick. So now, I'm going to talk about it. Alright, so they start out with the Goatsy opener. It's classic. One second. It's classic opener. Spread your butt cheeks a bit. And it's just a fun opener. And it's just like, it's not serious at all, but I like it. So this is a pretty neat opener. You can see what he does here for the opener is he like sort of contracts both of his knees here. He contracts both of his knees and he uses that to really push himself off at the beginning, because bringing in your knees just like gives you a lot of power really well. Then he uses his contracted knees for his spin, and then the other cool thing about drinking. Another cool thing about contracting your knees for a startup is that you can then kick against the ground after you've pushed off. So it's really neat because you can push off one way and then push off the other really well. And they do that here. Folly does that here since this is his part. So he kicks off, kicks again. It's 2 o'clock for me because I live in Chicago. Since someone's asking what time it is, it's 2 o'clock. So then he's kicking off with the other leg. So that's a good opener right there. I just really like that. He just is flowing around really well. He's got these nice kicks on the ground. He's getting nice spins out of them. This is a very good opener by Falu. So after the opener here, Fudgy Balls takes over. And then he does a little bit of a lift on the crotch. And then he does an interesting sort of follow-up for the manipulation. For one, I do want to say that I really like the look of this spin that he does here. You can see that he pushes off on the crotch, and then he sort of spins around. He's got a really pretty looking spin, and just the way that he plants his foot and the look of his knee while he does this second move here, this second kick, I just really like. I've always been really fond of the look of partially contracted knees. So that's what he has there. The partially contracted knee looks really nice. It looks like it's sort of held and just sort of scrapes across the Yuke's tits there. Just right across the nips. Oh, and apparently, an interesting fact, Follow just mentioned in the chat, this is a multiple gravity replay. Nuthugs wrote a script to do these. Basically, you can just make a replay where it switches gravity in the middle of it. And it's really cool. I've never actually done it myself, but I really like it. I think these kind of replays are kind of cool. I know, Nuthugs made really good replays with it, and I saw D-Skigs, I don't know how to pronounce his name, made a really good replay in this kind of multiple gravity thing too. So right now they're in Sambo gravity. So that explains sort of the second kick here, because the second kick, it's not much manipulating hit. It's what I like to call more of a juggling hit, because it's not spinning you. It's just sort of keeping him in the air. So I like to sort of call manipulations that are less focused on the spinning than on the lifting. I like to call those hits sort of juggling, because I don't know, that's what I call it. I feel like it's a better word than manipulation. What was I talking about? So he gets that little lift there. I like that. I like how he follows it up with his hands there. The arm movement is really good. I really like using like arms to sort of twist Yuke around like that. And then Follow takes back over. Okay. So Follow, once again, is pushing off with his hands. It looks like Follow is... You can really tell, even without the emotes, like the different styles of the guys, because Follow seems much more likely to put his hands on the ground and push off and make him go fast. But it looks like Fudgy Balls is a much more slow-paced replay maker. I mean, I'm not saying that either way is wrong or either way is better. It's just a difference. But you can see that as soon as Follow takes over, he pushes off on the ground with his hand. He really pulls himself into. He really contracts into himself to get really fast spins. He lifts up the leg there, and then Fudgy Balls takes over again, and does an interesting grab. That's kind of cool. Because on this grab, he just sort of like twists himself around here, and then brings in his foot for a decap. So that's a really good use of grab and manipulation. A lot of the times, I like to say that grabbing and manipulation is bad, but I don't think that's the case right here, because he just uses the grab really well. He uses the grab almost to manipulate himself. And he manipulates himself into a spin to come in and kick off Yuke's head. And I like that. Let's see. What's happening now? It's hard to remember what happens in the middle of these replays when they're this long. So decap, then Follow takes over for this butt punch. He comes in, gets the grab dismemberment. It doesn't, I don't know, it's hard to tell if I like grab dismemberments or not. I don't think I like that one just because it looks like a kind of weak hit. Like, let me slow this down a bit. If you take a look at his hand here, it's just not moving that fast, and it doesn't seem like it should be getting should be getting 2 dismemberments. So I don't think I like that grab dismemberment there. And I want to, one second, I'm going to take a quick break real quick, and not like a break, but I'm going to like pause for a second here, and I want to see if I can fix something that I noticed. Because my stream is recording at 20 FPS, and I don't want that. I want it to be recording at higher than that. So let me see if I can just fix that real quick. Okay, whatever, fuck it. I don't know how to do it. Alright. Back to the replay. I'll figure it out later. I'll figure it out for next week. 2 weeks from now. So, decap, glute. That third kick on the packs is really nice. I do really like how they get 3 really quick hits on you to break them apart. It's just, 1 second. 1, 2, 3, and that's it. I really like those really quick dismemberments like that. And then he breaks himself apart and does sort of like a pseudo skeet to the head with his core, which is kind of funny. And that's a replay. So these guys are skilled replay makers, and you can tell from this replay. I really like this replay. I'm a big Fudgy Balls fan. I haven't watched too many of Falu's replays. All I've really seen from him is what I've done on the stream so far. But I'm a Fudgy Balls fan. And Falu definitely, I think Falu, judging from this replay, I think he played a little bit better for this replay. Maybe just like his style fit the replay more, but I think Falu did a better job in the end. I don't really want to like compare people because it's like, it's one collaboration and it's like making one replay. But it looks like Falu is doing a really good job in this replay. So I think I might have to check out more of his replays in the future. Alright, so that's that replay. Next replay, coming up, is going to be Red Helicopter by Nightshade. I'm going to DL Nightshade. I feel like he never has had textures, but I gotta check anyway. So, we have a manipulation, of course, because people love the manipulations on my show. Into a few really nice little kicks. Kick, kick, and then a pose. Alright? So we're going to talk about this. So, for this replay, it looks like he's using a hold all opener, which, I mean, I am totally okay with. I do not mind people using hold all at all. And I think he uses it pretty effectively in this opener. My only issue, maybe... Uh-oh. My only issue with it, really... Uh-oh. Are we getting ones? It looks fine to me. I don't know if you guys know the tradition, but if you're ever experiencing lag in the chat, just like type... If you're ever experiencing lag on the stream, just type in a 1 in Twitch chat. And sort of, that'll give me a heads up for if my stream is being shitty or not. It looks like it's fine right now. I just got a 1 in the middle of chat, so I wanted to make sure that everything was okay. So, with that being said, it's Nightshade's replay. So, the thing I don't like about this opener is not the hold all, but it looks like he's not pushing off the ground very well. So if you look at the way he's pushing off here, you can see that it looks like he's not getting as much traction on the ground as he should be. And also I think that I don't know, he's like, it just doesn't look like a very strong jump off. Like his foot isn't, it doesn't look firmly planted. I think maybe if he had like held his knee and maybe extended his ankle, that might have been a little bit better. He could have gotten a little bit more power out of it, but it doesn't look like he's getting as much power as he should be getting with this opener. Because he's got this whole strength of his hip pushing back on the ground. and he's just getting this little kind of light spin. So I think he could have done a better job with that opener. But I think he could. I don't want to say better job. I think he could have gotten more power, and I think the more power would have looked nice given the opener that he had. If he didn't want a lot of power, I think he could have used a prettier, quote unquote, opener, like a prettier opener, something that isn't. This opener looks like it should be starting something powerful, and it's not. It's starting like a slow, pretty spin. So I think that it's sort of like a disconnect between the parts of the replay. But then what he does is he does a slow spin here, and then he does this really nice lift on Yuke's chest. Hallelujah, I might have your replay, I'm not sure. If you sent a replay to my email, then I have it. If you didn't, I don't have it. That's how it goes now. Alright, so he gets this lift onto the chest here, pushes off. I like that. And then I really like that second hit too, because those are kind of annoying hits to make. He really scoops his arm under Yuke's legs and picks him up there. He just sort of like does a one-arm tug and scoops him up. I like that. I always like those kind of manipulation hits. I think they're cool. And then he does this cool little cartwheel thing. I think I would have liked the cartwheel more if he made. I think I would have liked the cartwheel more if he had done it a little bit faster. And the way he does it in this replay is a little bit slow, I think. And you should know that I am not against slow replays like at all. But I think in this case, the slowness does not do him any favors. I think this would have definitely benefited from a little bit more pace on the spin. I think. Like if he had maybe raised his arm a bit to get a little bit of a quicker spin on the cartwheel, I think it would have looked nicer. Because, especially the way he gets out of the cartwheel. Because he does this cartwheel, and then he pushes off the ground with his arm. So, it's sort of like, look at it this way. He's doing this from this angle. He's doing a counterclockwise spin. Counterclockwise spin. He lands. And then he lifts his arm, and then it's sort of like a clockwise spin. So he's like switching his directions. And that's generally, it usually doesn't look great when you switch your directions like that. And I think if he had put a bit more pace onto his spin, because the reason that he had to switch his directions is because Yuke was falling down. Yuke was falling down, he had to catch Yuke. He had to get there before Yuke touched the ground because you don't want Yuke to touch the ground in your manipulations. So he's like, oh shit, I need to get there quick, so he lifts his arm to just make sure that he gets to Yuke as fast as possible. But if he had done his little cartwheel thing quicker, he would be out of his cartwheel quicker, so he'd have more time to do a little bit more of a, just a planned out and pretty approach to Yuke. And I think that would have definitely worked out a lot better than the slow cartwheel that he's doing here. So, one second. So, he does the slow cartwheel. Then he does the questionable push-off on the ground. And he approaches Yuke. He gets his foot right under there. He gets his foot right under there to, under Yuke. To sort of like stall him for a second to make sure he doesn't touch the ground. And also pulls him a little bit closer to Yuke. Oh shit. And then through that he can also scoop his arm under Yuke again give him a little bit more spin, and then he starts his dismemberments. So he scoops his arm under, brings Yuke in with his arm, so he can bring his foot forward and get this nice core kick. He also has a grab on Yuke. He doesn't really use the grab, though. It doesn't seem like... Oh, wait. Okay, I see now. Let me just talk about this real quick. So he gets the core, gets this grab, gets the other grab on Yuke's arm, which is really cool. I like when people can grab two pieces at once and sort of like break both of them. So he's like grabbing the one piece, and he's bringing his foot back to get a knee dismemberment. And although I do really like this knee dismemberment, I think it would have been cooler if he had gotten a more meaty hit, like on the crotch or something. Because it's really cool when you can grab both pieces, you just like get a really big hit on one piece and then you get a really big hit on the other. It's just awesome because you're like multitasking, you're doing like two awesome things at once. Like, who doesn't like that shit? So he gets just the knee dismemberment there, and then a decap there, and then really smoothly gets into this pose. This is actually kind of a funny pose, I think. He looks so dumb. But, okay. I think that's all I have to say about this. It's a bit slow at points, I think. But he definitely has a lot of really cool smoothness that he's put into this replay. Like, the cartwheel is very smooth. He has a really smooth lift on Yuke, and he really smoothly gets into the pose. And also that spin that he does right after the decap kick is really nice. Uh-oh, the cat's back. So yeah, nice replay. This is definitely a better Nightshade than I've seen in the past. So I like this. So now, come up here, kitty. Come on. Say hi to the stream, Effie. So, now it is Ifred's turn. He's got a manipulation. Oh my god, Ifred. Oh my god. Okay, this is awesome. I can already tell this is awesome. So, Ifred, I have recently become an Ifred fan. He makes sick replays. Get down, cat. Get down. Get your tail. Get down. Okay. So Ifred, he makes super sick replays. I love Ifred replays. So we're gonna talk about how awesome Ifred is. All right. So his opener here, I feel like I've used an opener just like this before. But so he starts off with this quick spin, just twists his body around to get a nice quick spin to start off with. Pushes off with his hand to get another spin. A little bit of a lull in momentum while he brings his arm down to continue the spin. But it's not too big of a deal. Spins on his knee like a swagapotamus. Like just an awesome guy who spins on his knee. I love knee spins. Lands on his feet here. Really powerful lift up to barely touching Yuke. But what I really like about this first part here is that he's just like, he touches Yuke, he sort of lifts him a bit in the air, but he still retains so much of his momentum because he's just like nicking Yuke. And then he and he gets to reverse the rotation of his chest to bring his foot up and then lift Yuke up again. So I really like that. It's a really quick spin, a really quick nick, and then a quick spin to lift up Yuke again. And then he can begin the manipulation. So let's see. He brings his arm under Yuke's shoulder so he can sort of lift him up there. And then he brings his other foot over, and then his other foot. That's really nice. That's a really cool movement that he does there. Because you can see that he brings his right foot there to get the push on his legs, but then he brings his other foot to get the push up on his leg again. So I want to, and since I'm the manipulation man, I just want to show you how he does that. Because normally when you hit Yuke with your foot, you're gonna like push yourself away from him, right? But you can see what he does here is that his left foot is planted on the ground when his right foot is hitting Yuke. And also he doesn't hit Yuke that hard with his right leg also. But his left foot is planted so he doesn't go too far. And then when he's hitting with his left leg, he's planting his left hand on the ground so he doesn't fly away from that either. So that's really good awareness by him to make sure that he doesn't go anywhere while he's doing this manipulation. And then that's a really nice little grab. I didn't even notice that before. He does this little grab on Yuke just to, oh wait, or was it a grab? Maybe I'm just blind. Fuck. I missed it again. Alright, here we go. So he brings his hand around. Oh, he doesn't even grab. Okay, it looked like a grab, but it's not. It's just him being good. Oh my god. Okay, I need to talk about that. That's amazing. So, for the most part in this beginning part of the manipulation, he's not actually manipulating Yuke that much. He's mostly just sort of keeping him in the air, and he himself is moving around. Like, if you actually look at Yuke, he's not doing that much in the air at this point. He's, like, done a 180 spin. But then, he really brings it out right here, where he sort of, like, stalls Yuke's head on his back, and then he brings his foot up here, and he gets this really nice kick on Yuke to send him spinning. That's amazing. That's awesome. It's just really cool how he, like, stalls Yuke on his back like that, and that's a perfectly placed kick to spin Yuke around. So that is actually, that's really pro right there, what he just did. If Ifred's not an Ormo, he should be, I think. Ifred is a really good replay maker. But anyway, so after the awesome manipulation spin here, he plants on the ground here, brings himself around, pushes off, boom hit. Then he comes down, lands. What a badass. What a badass. Right, kitty? Ifred is so good, guys. So, I don't know. He's awesome. So, that's that replay for being a sick motherfucker. We're gonna go on to our next replay. Suion. Let me download his texture set. Did I feel like I did this replay last week. Did I not? No. It has the same opener. Okay, it's the same opener, I think. Or is it? I have no idea. No, it's not the same replay, but it has the same opener. It definitely does. because I do quite distinctly remember him pulling off his own head. But the replay is different. I can tell. So, I already talked about the opener. I don't really like this opener because he's just sort of like throwing the head away. He's throwing the head away, and it doesn't really like lead him to do anything with the head. I always like I like leaving the head around. It doesn't seem there doesn't seem like there's much of a point to him pulling off his head in this replay, I think. Because, in my opinion, I think that everything that you do in a replay, it should have a point. And I just don't think there was like much of a reason to pull off his own head for this. And also, I just don't even like the initial opener. Like, up to 950 here it was like for an opener challenge, and I just don't even like it because it was a weird position to be in, and I just don't think there's almost no good way to smoothly transition out of it because you look so goofy in that position. Yeah, I'll stop talking about the opener. So then he comes up and he starts this manipulation. The spin that he has initially here is really nice. And then he comes up and lifts with his arms here. I don't know how far I got in this replay last time. I don't know how far, where the differences start, because I don't remember. I just know that it is I know that it is different. Because there's like this really big hook boom kick that wasn't there before. So my problem with this manipulation that he has here is that it looks like he's sort of like he pushes Yuke away from him initially, which is a problem because I've said before that when you make manipulation replay, one of your goals with every hit is that you don't let yourself go far away from Yuke. You want to stay pretty close to Yuke, because if you're not close to Yuke, then you can't hit him. I mean, that's how it is. So his initial lift here, he's sort of like pushing away, and so he has to spend the rest of his manipulation catching up with Yuke. You can see here that he has to like push himself forward. He's got to like sort of hook Yuke in. He's got to hit the bottom of Yuke there. And then you get this arm dismemberment. Okay, seriously, did I already talk about this replay? Did I talk about this replay already? Like, I feel like I haven't. I recognize the opener, but Fudgyballs is saying I already talked about this replay. So, did I already talk about this? Oh my god. Do I need to watch the VODs? Do I need to watch my own VODs to figure out if I had talked about this before? Okay, I did talk about this replay. I remember it now. I remember the replay now. I remember the glute skeet. Okay, so I did already talk about this. Okay, I fucked up. My bad. I don't know. Okay. Alright. I already talked about this one. Someone messed up somewhere. Alright. So. We're gonna go to the next replay. We're gonna go to the next one. This is Special Sausage by the... So, this is a little Mad Manny dude. It's got some kicks, got some stuff. Let's go over this. Alright. So he starts off with this little arm raisey spin thing. I don't like how like the whole setup here is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it really. But what I don't like is that he lets his knee touch the ground right here. And I think that's a bit of a mistake. I think he would have been better off letting his foot touch the ground. I think having his knee on the ground is a little bit sloppy. I feel like I like knee spins, like I was saying earlier, but I feel like this, like having his knee on the ground, kind of just doesn't look that good to me. And like it doesn't really help him at all, because he has his knee on the ground and then he sort of kicks off like that. And that's not a very powerful kick off the ground. It's just a weird, it's just not it doesn't have a lot of power behind it, because he's sort of, instead of kicking off the ground, he's just sort of like moving his leg in a way. You know what I mean? It's like, oh fuck, I accidentally edited. 1 second. Let me open that again. Alright, so let me just talk about this real quick. So, by having his knee on the ground initially, instead of like moving his body with this kick, he's just sort of like straightening his leg in a way. Like it gives him a little bit of power, but it looks like he's, instead of like kicking off the ground, it's like his leg is just sort of straightening. It's almost like it's basically just his knee is extending. So then he goes into the spin, and then he gets his first dismemberment, and the replay glitches out a little bit. Like if you just look at Yuke and how he moves through these couple frames. It's obvious that he sort of like twitches there for a second. Did you see that? Like he's like teleports upwards. So there's a reason for this. And you guys should know about this. This is really good to know. When you make a replay, sometimes when you ghost your foot into a cylinder, you can see that Luke's thigh and his shin is a cylinder. But when you ghost into them, Torbash sort of freaks out. I don't know what it is about cylinders, but it just doesn't like them. So, through his foot ghosting into the thigh here, you can see that sort of like stuck in there for a little bit. It actually glitches the replay, and it makes you teleport right there. You can see that it sort of like teleports up a bit. So, when you're making a replay, you should make sure to avoid ghosting into Yuke's leg to fix this problem. Ghosting into his knee is fine. You can ghost into his knee all day. But once you have your foot stuck inside either his shin or his thigh, that's when you start to run into problems. So generally, this shouldn't even be that much of an issue, because you probably shouldn't really be ghosting your foot into his thigh or shin anyway, I think. So you should try and avoid that so you can get glitchless replays. So gets this knee dismemberment, and then quickly follows it up with this hook decap. Pretty neat. It's a really nice quick combo, 1-2. I really like how he brings his foot like way over his head to get that decap. And also hook decaps like that are just kind of hard. So it's cool. So then he follows up that decap with this grab, brings his foot around for another kick, gets this core, and then he quickly pokes his leg down to get that knee decap, to get the knee dismemberment. So it's just a short, quick combo, and then he gets into his pose. So the only thing I really don't like about this combo here is most of the hits are pretty nice, but if you look at in between this decap and the core kick, it just kinda takes a while. So that's kind of lame. It takes a little bit. It takes a little bit too much time for him to follow up his decap with the next kick. And also, if you look at his legs, in between like the decap and the core, they're like not moving much. His hip is mostly extended already. I'm contracted. You can see that his right hip is contracted already, which it shouldn't be. It should be extended at this point and then moving towards a contracted position so he can get more power in the kick. And also, his left leg is completely motionless for this entire duration. Like, you can see that's just completely contracted, and his hip is extended, like, the whole time. So, a little bit more leg movement in that section would have gone a long way, I think. But overall, I really do like these, hits, and it's pretty smooth in general. But that was one thing that was definitely a really big mistake in this replay, I think. Oh man, I need water. Beer doesn't make me any less thirsty for some reason. I don't know why that is. Alright. Our next replay is going to be Martyr by Gramophone. Also, hallelujah, I'm looking at my folder right now, and it doesn't look like I have your replay downloaded. You might have like emailed me. If you just emailed me your replay while I was streaming, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to be looking at my replays. I'm going to be looking at the replays sent to me before I start the stream. The replays that I'm going to be doing on stream are going to be decided before I start streaming, because then I won't be wasting any stream time like I am now. So if you sent the email with your replay during the stream, then I'm not going to do it. And I think that's what you did, so I'll have it. Anyway, we got a replay by Gramophone. It's called Martyr. Ooh, it's kind of neat. So, it's a split cap. And it's pretty neat. It's pretty smooth. I like it. So, let's take a look at this. To start off with, I'm not a fan of how his foot touches the ground here and then touches the ground later. I've talked about this before. But I generally like it when people can touch the ground just like they like pick a spot. It's like he puts his foot on the ground here, and then he brings it up and puts his foot on the ground there. And the reason I don't like this is because when he's putting his foot on the ground here, it's not doing anything. It's just like on the ground. So I really like it when people can like decide on a spot to put their foot when they're planning it, because then it's just like you're not making any unnecessary movement. And I think by putting your foot on the ground and then picking it up and putting it down again, you are making an unnecessary movement. But after he does the spin, after he pushes off, I do really like how he spins after the push off, because he pushes off right here, contracts his knee, and then he just spins around. He pushes his hand on the ground, and I really like these just contracted knee spins. Also, his glutes are not his glutes. His abs are extended, and I love extended abs. You know that. The extended abs with the contracted knees, it's just a really neat looking spin, I think. So it looks really nice here. So then he kicks off and gets this really nice core kick. The core kick is sick. Basically, everything after this push off here, like from here to the core kick, is just 100% good ass replay making. Everything there is good. Once again, after the core kick here, he sort of pokes the ground with his fist there. I don't mind the ghosting as much as I do him touching the ground with his hand there, because once again, the hand touching the ground isn't really doing anything. So I think it would have been better maybe for him to contract his elbow, bring his hand up towards him, so he can spin that way. And he does actually do that later anyway. You can see that he contracts the elbow right there. So if that was what he was going to do anyway, I think he could have done that a little bit earlier so he didn't hit the ground with his hand. Let's see what else. It kind of looks like right here. It just, like, if you look at his chest movement, it just doesn't look quite right. He has his right pec contracted and his left pec extended a little bit too soon. And like I said, I am a fan of having my pecs pointing the wrong way while I'm doing spins, but I don't think this was a case when that was the right thing to do. So I think if he had like let his pecs and his chest move more in sync, this spin would have turned out a little bit better. So then, let's see what happens next. He does a really interesting sort of movement to get that decap. This is just super wonky movement. Like, I don't know. I don't really know what to say about this. This is just like him going up for that decap in a strange way. Any way that he can, really. I do really like the end how he ends up, like, paused like this. This is just a really cool, it's just a really cool look for this Tori to be in, for this decap. I'm not 100% sure if I'm behind the way that he moves himself before the decap. It definitely doesn't look bad. It's just a little bit wonky, and I'm not sure if I'm totally behind it. Like I said, I am a fan of wonky. Like, my replays are super wonky, but this is a little bit unfocused, a little bit maybe. But it's definitely not bad. It's just interesting. I would much rather someone do this than something I've seen a million times, though. Let me say that. I love it when people do stuff that I don't know what I think of, because then I need to make an opinion about it. Because when I haven't seen it before, then I don't know what the fuck to think of it. So I do like when people do stuff that I haven't seen, and that's it's just a sort of weird thing that he did there. So I can respect that. And the decap itself is awesome. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about this. This is a good replay, though. I really like this. So, keep up the good work, Gramophone. I don't know if he's an Ormo yet, but he definitely could be pretty soon with replays like this, honestly. Alright. I got 2 replays left. Okay. I feel like I've seen this replay before. Is this another replay I've already done? Please tell me no. I really do feel like I've seen this before, though. Maybe I just saw this in my free time and I didn't do analysis on it. That's possible. Let me download this dude. Nicholas 135. Alright, so this opener is sort of the rotate chest and then bend lumbar thing. I don't want to sound narcissistic, but it kind of reminds me of my What Have I Become replay. Because the sort of bend down and then bring the knee up sort of push off thing. But the problem here is that his leg is a little bit stiff here. You can see that his knee is extended, and then his foot is completely extended, so it's sort of like poking into the ground really hard here. And I feel like it being totally extended like this isn't a really good look. I don't think. And also, it sort of contrasts the very... This opener is almost completely relaxed. It's almost 100% relaxed. I think it only takes 4 joints to do this opener, and everything else is relaxed. So, by contrast from the opener, the sort of flowing, relaxed opener is not continued in the follow-up of it 50 frames later. Oh fuck. So it's a little bit of a stiff follow-up. Into a kick on the chest. Kick on the chest to lift him up. If you look at his right leg here, it relaxes for a second and then he picks it up real quick. So it looks like he wanted to get his foot on the ground or something, but then he decided against it and picked up his knee. The quick... Did I do this replay already? Fuck, man! Why does this keep happening? Folly was telling me I already did this replay. I'm surprised that this happened with 2 different replays. Wow. I wasn't surprised that happened once, but it happened twice. I did think that I already talked about, I'd seen this replay before. Because I, specifically remember this pose already. But okay. Alright, so I already did this one. Nicholas, if you want to hear my thoughts on this replay, you can watch the stream from 2 weeks ago. People are typing Illuminati in the chat. Everything's going to shit. But now we have 1 replay left. We got a replay by Water called Shock Test. Water is an Ormo replay maker who is super sick. I like Water's replays. So let's take a look at what he's got here. This is a really quick one. So he starts off sort of putting his legs out like this. This is a pretty standard-ish opener. I don't know, I can't think of any times I've specifically seen it, but I feel like I've seen something similar to this many times before. There's nothing wrong with that, but I have seen it before. An interesting thing that he does here, I don't know, I would normally say that I don't like this, what he does here, but I think he makes it work somehow. I feel really bad for saying that, it feels like whenever someone good does something, it, works, and whenever someone bad does something, it doesn't. They can do, the same thing, but, the good person can make it work somehow. I think it's just, someone who has experience with the game, just knows how to make things flow, even if they're not supposed to. Because what I'm saying here is he has his knee contracted, extends his knee, and then contracts it again. And I don't like that usually. But Water, I don't know, he makes it flow, for lack of a better term. Because if you just look at it, he extends here and then brings it back, but it's just a really smooth movement that he does it in. And I really like how he does it there. And then he quickly flows into the spin that he has here. He's just using all of his joints really well. He's using all of his limbs. He's bringing his arms around. He's kicking off the ground. And then he's just like swinging everything around really well to get the spin. I really like, you can even look at like the trails and see how everything's spiraling around really well. And then he gets this grab to come up and get a, what is that? A 4 dismemberment boom. That's a pretty nice size boom. I'm surprised he didn't get 5 actually. He could, because it's like, I feel like he could have gotten that lumbar kick with that too. That lumbar break. And then he comes up with his other foot. It's sort of interesting how he brings his other foot up without really doing anything. It sort of like kicks him up in the air a bit. But there's a little bit of a pause between these first and second kicks. Like, I really like this this second non-dismembering kick with his left leg here, because it sort of keeps the flow going a bit, even when he's not actually doing anything. But then after he gets this grab, there's a there's like a short pause, because he has to switch the direction of his momentum. So that's a little bit of a problem with this replay, I think. Because it's just like, he just pauses for a quick second. It's like barely perceptible, but it definitely does detract from the replay a little bit. But then he brings up his foot for the second 3DM boom and goes into this like anti-pose. There's no decap. I would prefer there to be a decap, but it doesn't look like there was really any way to make it happen in this replay, so I'll let him off the hook. So this is just a really short, quick combo, but it's really well executed. The only real problem I have with it is that slight pause right before the second kick. Before the second dismembering kick, I should say. But other than that, this is a pretty flawless replay. There's just a really good flow in it. He moves really quickly, it's got a lot of power, it's just overall really awesome. Alright, so that's it. Let me pause this so you guys can get just my beautiful voice here in your ears. That's it for this week. I'm gonna keep doing them on Sundays after this. The replay stream is gonna be on Sundays again for the next couple weeks. As far as I know, I don't think there's any reason that I won't be doing it on Sundays. So, in 2 weeks from now or so, I'll see you guys again. Remember to send in your replays through email. And then I guess I will see you guys next time. Alright.